do you know what? I'm just going to go for it. Hi, it's been a hot minute. My name is Hannah Martin and I'm a makeup artist, and this is my YouTube channel, which I have ignored for quite some time now. So I thought now is as good a time as any to reacquaint myself with you all, say hello and post a longer form video, because let's face it, Instagram has become a bit more like TikTok these days and people are loving short form, which is great, but for those of you that love a good old catch up and a natter, yeah, 30-second reels don't really satisfy that. So I'm just looking at this. Good, I've got a Lottie London sparkly highlight here, which I'll use in a minute, but I realise it's got a sticker on it, so I'm just going to take that off. So for those of you that don't know, or maybe you've never come across my videos before, I'm a makeup artist. I have been for nearly 20 years. It was actually my plan C. Simon, you can walk across. She says, I don't even know if I've got any editing software anymore to edit this, but hey, let's see what happens. Did you know, actually, going back, my very first ever YouTube video, I didn't edit at all. I had a camera, I had it stacked up on a pile of cookery books. Do you remember that, babe?
Yeah.
In the dining room.
Kitchen,
dining room of our old house. And every time I moved, it wobbled because it was really unstable. And yes, I didn't edit it at all. It was just a free-flowing video. So maybe this will be the same. Goodness knows. We will see. Wowzer, this is rambly. But yes, I've been a makeup artist for nearly 20 years. It was my plan C. Plan A was drama school, which didn't happen. Plan B was nursing, which I did an entire nursing degree but then never practiced. She says when you do a nursing degree, anyone out there will know that you practice for the whole 3 years. You work full time essentially. But I knew that I didn't really want to be a nurse, as it were. So makeup was my plan C. If I'd known maybe when I was younger that I could have become a makeup artist from the get-go, then it probably would have been my plan A. I just didn't know about it really. And yes, I've had a very varied career and I absolutely love it. From I spent a huge chunk of my time with Bobbi Brown Cosmetics, and that's where this channel was born. I remember sitting with the brand manager saying, we don't play in the YouTube arena, that's ridiculous. Like, I'll get my own kit, I'll do it in my own time, but please let me prove to you that it works. And that's where this channel was born. And then I've been freelance for 5.5 years, and I've never looked back. I've loved it. I've had the most incredible opportunities throughout my career, especially at my time at Bobbi Brown, but since, and yes, I do a little bit of everything, from private clients, photo shoots, TV. Since I filmed my last video, I've been part of the Glam Squad on 10 Years Younger, or maybe I have filmed since I've been on 10 Years Younger. I don't know. I work with brands, I do things on social media, and something that probably spurred me on to make this video is I've written a book. Yep, the girl who panicked about a dissertation has written an entire book. It's called Makeup, Hannah Martin Makeup. See what I did there? And yes, that is out at the end of May. So I'll reintroduce myself today, but what I thought is, going forward, I could do a bit of a deep dive into each chapter in video form. So let me know in the comments if that's something that you would like. It's the Easter holidays, so my kids are downstairs playing. You may hear them, so apologies if you hear squawks and squeals at various times. Simon is working in the office with me, so you might hear him tapping away. Well done, on cue. So yeah, bear with, because this is a somewhat unplanned, but just thought I'd give it a go video anyway. So I am makeup free at the moment. Yesterday I used some of the new Saint-Tropez tanning serum on both my face and my body. I'm really pleased with the colour. However, I didn't do a brilliant job on my wrists. I watched Victoria McGrath do a video, thought, oh, I can do that. And lo and behold, I did it an okay job. I'll persevere and do it again. So I'm going to start by hydrating my skin with the Shiseido Ultimune Essence. I absolutely love this stuff. I'm a huge convert to Essence. If you followed me for a while, you will know that. But the most perfect way to start makeup application. So I had 3 drops of essence in the palm of my hands, and I just love to press and sweep it over my skin as a first step to hydration, because when I then follow with my Ultimune serum, actually that serum's going to be absorbed so much better into my skin because my skin is kind of prepped and ready. You've heard me say it 1,000 times, but I'll say it again. If you try and get a sponge scour in the kitchen, really kind of soapy and sudsy, if you put your washing up liquid straight onto a dry sponge, it just kind of goes a bit sticky. Whereas if your sponge is wet and you add your washing up liquid and then give it a good squeeze, the water helps the soap to activate and it becomes frothy and bubbly. And in the same way, wet skin will absorb moisture and liquid so much better. So, following on from my Eudermine Activating Essence, I'm following the Shiseido Ultimune Power Infusing Concentrate. Absolutely love the stuff. I think at this point Caroline Hirons would say I've done this in the wrong order, so I'm sorry, Lady C. I'm following now with a bit of the Shiseido Ultimune Eye Concentrate. So it's gorgeous, but it's like a serum texture for around the eyes. In the evening, I would take it around the orbital bone as well, but because today I'm just doing makeup, I'll keep it simply underneath the eyes. And actually, I might not use eye cream on top. If I was going to use eye cream on top, it would be, actually Shiseido again, it'd probably be the Benefiance, because I love it. Okay, bit of, this has not changed, Bobbi Brown, oh hang on, I'm forgetting my ways. That's not going to focus, is it? Tell I'm out of practice, lads. Bobbi Brown Lip Balm, the ultimate and best, in my opinion. Then I'm going to do just a little touch of Charlotte Tilbury Magic Cream. I'm not going to do loads because I am going to do a little bit of SPF as well, and the SPF I'm going to use is in itself quite moisturising. So I like to warm it up between my fingers and then press it in place. I know that Charlotte, I think she prefers to kind of blob it on the skin and then massage it in that way. Each to their own, I say. There we go. So I'm layering the hydration. I've always believed that light layers of moisture is far more beneficial than trying to kind of wallop on one great big load of moisture. If you do that, I find that's when makeup slides, because you haven't given your skin a chance to allow the light layers to settle. So I'm going to use the Dermalogica Dynamic Skin Recovery SPF 50. Hang on, this one's a new one. So it's just taking a little while to activate. I had been using, there we go, at least a teaspoon amount, my friends. I had been using my Anthelios, Where's She Gone, the last couple of days, but it's tinted and I love it, don't get me wrong, but I wanted to go for a clear SPF today because I want the true shade of my makeup to come through. Now, because you have to use at least a teaspoon amount to get full SPF protection, it's going to take me a little while to work it into the skin. So do bear with me, but I just want to show you, true to life, how much SPF I think is necessary for full SPF 50 protection. If I were to use less than that, I'm not going to get full SPF protection all over my face. So yes, a word of caution. If you want full SPF protection, you must use at least a teaspoon worth of your facial SPF. Or some people might show you the demonstration where they do stripes along the two fingers. Either way, if you do less, it's like trying to use, like, you know, one little dribble to cover the entire face. You won't get the full SPF protection. Why do I feel like I'm not explaining it very well, Simon? Do you get what I mean? I
totally followed it.
Genuine?
Nah, I was thinking about problem statements.
Excellent. Is that something for work?
Yeah.
Okay.
Trying to work something out.
Sorry. Another quick caveat. Since I've last filmed, I've discovered these silk scarves from Aspinall. Aren't they fab? Because I know that previously when I filmed YouTube videos, people used to get very frustrated with me touching my hair. So I'm sorry about that. I've been a hair flicker all my life, actually. So I will endeavour in this video not to touch my hair, but at all. let's see how it goes. So I'm just allowing the SPF to settle into my skin a little, and I'm now going to follow with, oh, controversial, not the base I was planning on using, but it's the one thing I haven't prepared. So I will use the Dior Forever Natural Nude. Dior Forever Natural Nude. I wear the shade 2W, and this is gorgeous for a medium hydrated base. I'm unpacking a new box of brushes. Another thing that has been born since my last YouTube video. I was very brazen actually. I approached Charlotte Knight, the founder of Ciate, and said, we did a brilliant collaboration a couple of years ago, and I said, do you know what, Charlotte? I've always wanted to do brushes. And she said, oh my goodness, I'd love to do that with you. And here they are, my 24-piece Pro brush set. I'm going to use my beloved base brush to apply said foundation. So I've got 2 pumps in my hand there, that's probably plenty. And I'm just going to start blending through the centre of my face. And actually that little bit of Saint-Tropez tan has done me the world of good, because actually if anything I would say that this foundation is on the slightly warmer side for me naturally. I'm wondering, Simon, do you remember on the camera how to alter the shade?
Oh, right.
Because I'm wondering if actually it's a little dark.
Isn't it amazing what iPhones do?
I know. They
Like,
just
iPhones
adapt.
are so clever. Adapt the shade. I don't actually. Do you think that's something you can do afterwards?
No.
Are you serious?
Yeah. Don't worry, if you don't remember, I don't remember. We are using this video as a test.
Test run. I mean, I can press the menu button if you want.
No, absolutely not. Not while I'm filming. Especially when I don't think I've got any kind of editing software, so this might have to go out raw. As is. For all of those out there who like long form stuff. So I am sorry about the wittering. But I will endeavour to look, because I feel like in the past I did some videos that looked a bit dark, and then I realised there's a setting on the camera that can alter the brightness. He's got his head back in the game, he's not listening to me.
Sorry.
Quite alright, babes. You carry on. Must be most annoying to have your wife twittering away in the background.
I was going to say the other thing, it must be really annoying. In your room, this is your room, isn't it? And here I am just tapping away. At least I'm not on the phone blaring out, right?
I know, right? Simon's habit, which I think was adopted during lockdown, was working from home, but he'd work at the kitchen table. You know, kitchen is the hub of the home. And he'd be doing all of these Zoom calls and stuff. And oh my goodness, the boy just shouts. He bellows. You do. He absolutely bellows when he's on a Zoom. And I've spent many a day very frustrated, kind of pacing outside the kitchen, desperately wanting to go in and make a brew or a sarnie, and not able to, because Mr. Dynamic Simon Martin Bloomberg is there like, yeah guys, so... Sorry, that's not fair.
That's not me.
It's...
Maybe I should start a YouTube tutorial on effective engagement and like making an impact on Zoom. Not that I do much on Zoom because I'm normally in an office, but...
You do that, babe. For anyone who can't hear clearly, that is my husband suggesting you start a YouTube channel.
Definitely not.
Anyway, now that I have got that foundation in place, I'm going to use some of the Chanel. This is the Healthy Glow Bronzing Cream, and this is the shade Tan Deep Bronze, which is quite warm indeed. I'm using the same base brush. And again, if you watch my Instagram videos regularly, you'll know that I've used this for the last week or so, and I've been delighted with how it's worn. So I thought, actually, what better way of reintroducing myself than just creating my kind of comfortable, everyday makeup look with you all. So you see I'm doing a mixture of stippling and blending. I get comments from people who use cream-based products saying, oh, it goes uneven, it goes patchy on me after a while. And I think sometimes that's indicative that maybe it wasn't worked into the skin that well initially. I often wonder what my clients think actually, as I'm there kind of stippling ad nauseam on their face. But first of all, I do it very gently. Second of all, I do believe that the kind of combination of stippling and then blending works the makeup into the skin so it kind of becomes a second skin and doesn't then go patchy. I love playing with brand new brushes. I've kept these especially to christen for when I eventually did a YouTube video. This is my face contour brush, not to be confused with the eye contour. The eye contour, although it looks very similar, is in fact bound differently and there are fewer hairs, so it's much lighter, meaning you can buff shadow through the crease and get a nice blend. This is slightly firmer for the face. I'm going to get my Chanel cream bronzer and I'm going to take that down either side of my nose and then take it through the crease of the eye as well. So this is kind of starting to build my eyeshadow look for today, which, lads, is going to be very simple indeed, because you know she loves a simple everyday makeup look. So just blending that through. Then I, generally speaking, wind up using my fingers to blend, but that's kind of got the basis of that going there. And then a little bit of ring finger action to blend out, make sure that's going nicely through the crease of the eye, and then just very gently buff through the centre. Let me just go a tiny bit across the nose there, just to help emphasise that button shape. And then with whatever's left on the base brush, I'm just going to take that under my jawline just to help make that look that a little bit more snatched. I may come back and do more bronzer in a memento because I love the stuff, as you well know. Let's do some concealer. I'm going to start with a little bit of Bobbi Brown Corrector. This is light bisque. I am a massive fan of light to medium bisque also. I'm just going to take that right in the inner corner of my eyes to brighten. Some habits die hard. I absolutely love the correctors. Then I'm going to use my buffer brush, which interestingly started life as a cream shadow brush. And you can still use it for cream shadow if you so wish. All of the brushes are synthetic fibres, they are vegan and cruelty free, and the handles are FSC wood. But I just found great joy in using this brush for blending out concealer. So that is what I predominantly use it for. You'll notice though I always go back in with my ring finger to work and press the makeup into the skin. Again, I don't want this creasing under my eye, and I find it's the occasions when maybe people don't work the product into the skin well enough that indeed happens. So apply it straight from the bullet, buff it out with the brush, and then press in the excess with my finger. Actually then any excess product comes off actually on the pad of my finger as I blend also. Now I'm going to use, I don't remember quite why or when I got such a jumbo Tarte Shape Tape. It must have been on QVC. This is the shade 22N. I'm just going to take that in the inner corner of my eye and one in the outer corner. Sometimes I'll do 2 dots there, but recently when I've done that I've realised, crikey, O'Reilly Hannah Martin, that is far too much concealer. So today I'm exercising a little bit of caution and just using the one. There we go. Actually, I forget with Tarte that a little bit goes a long way. Some of my other favourite under eye concealers are Urban Decay Stay Naked 40NN. I also absolutely love Shiseido's Synchro Skin Concealer, and I use the shade 202. in that. But my goodness, I could do a whole video just on concealer. If you'd like me to do a whole video on concealer, let me know in the comments below. But I will say, for those that worry about concealer or maybe have slightly more mature skin, then still the concealer that I recommend most to this day is IT Cosmetics by Under Eye. It's really beautifully hydrating, so excellent on a slightly more mature skin. Shape Tape can work on a slightly more mature skin. Just be mindful that the texture is, you know, ever so slightly drier, which could potentially exacerbate the appearance of fine lines. And I know that it's something that really does perturb a lot of people, but as I do like to reassure people, actually, even if there are very fine lines or fine creases in your concealer, most people won't notice. But it's something that we can be acutely aware of ourselves. So I understand that for many it's still, you know, a massive cause of concern and something that people don't want to have to tolerate when it comes to under eye concealer. Okay. How is that looking? My setup is quite different to how I used to film YouTube, so actually my camera's quite far away from me. I can't really see what I'm doing, so I'm just going to trust the process. She says adding makeup to the smile lines. What am I doing that for? But I just want to lighten ever so slightly. There we go. Okay, and I will finish that off. I'm going to take off the excess. I had bronzer on my base brush last, so I'm just working the excess into the palm of my hand and then just blending that out. If I had to say a favourite brush, the base brush would be a very strong contender. Right, I'm now going to use my flat foundation brush. This is very lightly bound, so it's not a particularly dense brush. The base brush is much more dense. I love it for buffing actually pretty much all kind of cream and liquid products. However, this is particularly good for wet products. And when I say wet products, I mean something like the Daniel Sandler Watercolour blush, whether it's Tarte, Cheeky Tint, Iconic London Sheer Bronze, any kind of lightweight, quite wet makeup, this is excellent for. Or if you're using a liquid foundation but you just want a very, very light cover, then the flat base brush is brilliant for that. So I'm going to do a little bit of Daniel Sandler Watercolour blush. This is in the shade So Pretty. I was going to use this slightly peach colour, which is called Gentle, but actually I think it's more me to go pink, isn't it? So let's do a little bit of the So Pretty. It's got a bit of a sheen to it, which I love, so a soft kind of half smile, and then just start on the apple of the cheek and blend out, and you get this really soft pinky sheen, which even though I'm just doing kind of an everyday makeup, I've always believed that you can't go far wrong with a soft flush of colour to the cheek. Of course, I go into more depth about blush in Le Book. Le Book is how this has been affectionately called in my laptop since the project started. But yes, I hope it is a really helpful resource for anyone out there looking to just learn a bit more about makeup, maybe upskill their own personal skills, any young people who might be young, anyone who might be interested in maybe becoming a makeup artist. I just hope there's a little bit of something for everyone. Okay, just making sure that those blushes are even there. How's it looking, lads? Okay, moving on. So I've done a bit of the Chanel through the crease of the eye. Let's do some brow, shall we? Actually, I'm gonna do the Eye and Brow Maestro from Armani. Let me grab my eyebrow brush. Just to say, every brush has its purpose written on it, even though you can have, of course, completely free creative license to use the brushes however you so wish. But in the box does come a guide that I wrote, which features all of the brushes and all of the many ways in which you can use them. So if you're not sure, do keep hold of that and use it for reference. This is the Eye and Brow Maestro by Armani Beauty in the shade 4 Ombre. So once I get it in my brush, I like to just push the product into the brush by kind of pressing into the lid. Does that not remind
you of Friends?
What? Ombre.
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 Yes, it does indeed.
So good.
So I start first by carving out the base of the brow. This is something I never used to do, but in recent years I've started to struggle with a little thyroid condition called Hashimoto's, which means that I'm losing brow hairs like there's no tomorrow. It's just one of the many side effects, lucky me. So I do find that just working out where the base of my brow should be really helps. Then I just start working the product up from the base. I'm not necessarily trying to do hair-like strokes, if I'm being honest. I'm more concerned about just filling in some of the skin behind the hairs to create a slightly fuller looking brow. But what I will say when it comes to filling in brows is I do love a naturally filled in brow. I always have done. I love that this Brow and Eye Maestro has an ever so slight sheen to it, which I find helps create a bit of dimension so your brows don't look flat. But yes, what I will say is the intensity of your brows does kind of need to change depending on the intensity of your eye look. So if you've done kind of an everyday natural brow, but then you say beef up your eye makeup to an evening, darker, smoky look, you might find actually that your eyebrows look a bit insipid, a bit flat in comparison. So 9 times out of 10, I will revisit eyebrows and make them just that little bit stronger. Treble mints are an itty bit stronger. And they all said, stick them up your nose and they last a bit longer. That was pitchy. Longer. Okay, so just fluffing through. It's these heads of my brows that are a nightmare. Hang on, we're back. Sorry, I've been gassing too long. It said recording has stopped automatically. I forgot it did that. I wonder if I can stop that from happening. It's probably a setting. One thing that hasn't changed is my total ineptitude when it comes to all things technical. One day I'll learn. I just find the whole process of trying to learn totally overwhelming, if I'm honest. Okay, that will do for an everyday brew. What I might do as we move on to eyes is just use, this is actually Golden Light by Bobbi Brown. You know that my OG, and this is my blender brush, my holy grail bronzer is in fact Bobbi Brown Cosmetics Medium. But I'm just going to go over the Chanel cream bronzer I did through the crease of the eye with the Golden Light. Why? Just to set it into place. Because sometimes creamy products, on the eyes especially, can crease. It's true everywhere, but I'm just using the powder bronzer just to set that bronzer in place. And truthfully, I'll probably use a little bit of this bronzer all over once I near the end of this makeup. Again, I find that's the best way of making a makeup look really stay put, is by using light layers of cream-based products first and then finishing and setting with powders. On that note, I am just going to powder through my T-zone a little bit. I want to put a bit of bronzer under my eyes, so I need to set my under eyes. So I'm using the Laura Mercier translucent powder, What a Classic, on a little Huda Beauty sponge. I'm not totally sure where the rest of my Huda sponges have gone.
Cat's got them.
No, she hasn't. The cat gets my spongy, not my little velour pads. And I'm just going to set under my eyes. I'm not baking. Baking is where you apply, you know, a lot of powder and leave it to sit. I can't afford to do that with my nearly 40-year-old skin. Yes, in 8 weeks' time. Is it 8 weeks, babes? I turn 40.
Less.
What on earth? Is it less than that?
Yeah, it's about 7 weeks, I think.
Oof. Old man.
Me?
No, me. Blast from the past. That was Harry Enfield and Chums. Old man. I'm showing me age. Okay, so just doing a little bit of that translucent powder just to set through the centre of the face. Now actually I could do, let me show you my bronzer brush. Oh, isn't she pretty? Just a thing of beauty. And I'll go back over my Golden Light, which is usually medium. I can hear all of my long-term followers going, what? What? Why is she using Golden Light? There was a reason. Just I can't fully recall it just now. So jawline and neck. These, by the way, don't know if you can see, are from my latest collection with Scream Pretty, as are my earrings. It's called the Colour Me Happy collection. And it's my 4th collection with Scream Pretty, which I can't really believe. The rest of the collections have been far more kind of classic and everyday, focusing on diamonds and pearls, because that's my fave. But this collection was inspired by Bo Diana, my now 5-year-old daughter, who draws colour every day. Rainbows, hearts, stars, flowers, you name it. And it was a photograph of her, or a picture I sent Jessica from Scream Pretty, of a picture of Bo's. She was holding the picture, and on the picture were some multicoloured butterflies and some beautiful flowers, and Jessica was like, goodness gracious me. They look like they should be a jewellery collection, and that is where the Colour Me Happy collection was born. Quickly going to use my spoolie wand just to brush up my brows. The thing to note here is that the spoolie wand is a standalone brush. Can't bear a double-ended brush, especially if your brow brush is on one end. I just find that then the spoolie end gets a bit manky. So just a little call out right there. What should we do now? Eyes. I don't want to do a huge amount on my eyes, to be fair. So I'm just going to use a little bit of the Moonstone shadow from Bobbi Brown. Oh my gosh, so pretty. Look at this. Just going to press that on the lower part of the lid. Keep the crease bronze. It's just to add a teeny weeny bit of life, as it were. There we go. And a finger I find absolutely sufficient for this kind of shadow, where a brush could potentially kind of flail shadow everywhere. I've just realised I haven't set my brows, so let me use the Revitalash Cosmetics Brow Gel. This is in the shade Dark Brown. So yes, that's going to add a little bit more colour, but actually that's going to hold the brows in place all day. I also love, as you know, Charlotte Tilbury Brow Fix, Blank Brow Bar Clear Brow Gloss. I was going to say Anastasia Beverly Hills. I do love the Anastasia Brow Gloss. I don't love, controversial, the Brow Freeze. I think my brows are just too coarse. I can't get brows to sit flat. Each to their own. Anyway, mascara. My trusty Tweezerman eyelash curlers. I actually never do mascara without a good curl because my lashes are dead straight, as you'll see in a sec. There we go. There you can see lashes, there you cannot, because they just stick straight out, much to my frustration. But yeah, good curl with the curlers. Just make sure the hinge isn't touching your cheek. First of all, you'll get a red patch on your cheek, but more so, this angle will give you a much better lift to your lashes. She says I've done that one quite well, so let me do this one just a wee bit more. And then for mascara, I'm going to use my mascara. It's not my mascara, it's Sculpted by Aimee's mascara, but it's called my mascara. I absolutely love the wand, I love the formula, and you'll see how in just a few strokes you get really impressive standout lashes. So I generally use the curved side first, just to get the lift, and then I'll turn it and use the back side, so the humped side as it were, and I'll just go back into the base of my lashes and push the wand through, yes, to separate the lashes, but also just to add weight and volume. But I don't know about you, my lashes go in seasons. Well, everyone's lashes go in seasons, but I'm not currently in the best lash season. They are not particularly playing ball, but the My Mascara from Sculpted by Aimee does a brilliant job of making them look more impressive than they actually are. Oh, I never did do the bronzer along my lower lash line. I'll do that shortly, but I'll have to let the mascara dry, so I will actually do lips next. And then the bronzer under the lower lash line. I think it makes all the difference actually, for very gently framing the eyes. It's like you're doing lower lash line liner without doing lower lash line liner. That'll do, campers. Let me just use my flat concealer brush. It's a teeny weeny bit of mascara on my cheek there. There we go, lifted off, crisis averted. I sharpened momentarily before we got cracking my McGrath Lip Contour. I just love this shade. It's a brilliant everyday neutral. I'm taking it right to the fullest extent of my lips. People often think I'm overlining, but I actually just have a slightly bizarre curved lip edge. Do you know what I mean? It's not flat to my face, it kind of flips a little bit. And then this is an Makiage. Oh, I haven't tried this one. Makiage Lip Service High Shine Lip Glaze, and this shade is called Power Play. Oh, it looks nice. I think the one I was thinking I was going to use is actually downstairs. Oh, I do love a good neutral lip though. There we go. Shall we do just a little bit of highlight? Because highlight's always fun. And I love my highlight brush. She says, picking up the blush brush. Look at her. Isn't she lovely? Look at the head on there. It's so soft and light. So this is the Charlotte Tilbury Hollywood Glow Glide Face Architect Highlighter in Moonlit Glow. So just take a little bit of that over the top of the cheek. We'll take a bit over the bridge of the nose. And then I'm going to grab another brush. This is my buffer brush. It's got a cute little round domed head. And I use it for buffing kind of anything, whether I'm trying to do, you know, diffused lip liner, whether I'm trying to buff out gel liner and soften it, whether I'm trying to double line, you know, and buff out a nice bit of powder liner over the top. I would do the Cupid's Bow, but I've got a little bit too much shimmer going on there. And then, because I got it out earlier and then didn't use it, let's do a little bit of the Lottie London Diamond Bounce. This is in the shade Rose Gold. I absolutely love it. And it is, oh, I hope that gets picked up on camera. I want to say, I could be really wrong, I want to say it's about £5. And compared to others on the market, there are others by premium brands that are very similar that cost an absolute fortune. So this is one of my faves. Should we take the old hair out? Again, that is one of my silk scarves from Aspinall, which has been a bit of a saviour when it comes to trying to appease people on the tinterweb who don't like me touching my barnet. Okay, I am overdue a haircut. I'll be having a haircut soon to make sure that this Barnet is in mint condition ahead of my, well, 2 big moments in May. My birthday, my 40th, and of course, my book launch. So, longest video you've ever seen? Possibly, but I did really want to reacquaint myself with you all, resurrect my somewhat neglected YouTube channel, and bring you more content soon. I won't be going anywhere from Instagram. I love that platform. I'll keep all the short form videos there, and I will pop any longer form videos here. Thanks for watching, thanks for bearing with me. Who knows if this will be edited? It might well be just a very long, very rambly video, but I promise that I will endeavour to upskill myself and teach myself, yes, really teach myself some editing skills, and if I don't have editing software, I will endeavour to buy some. Alright my loves, loads of love, see you again soon.
Well done.
There we go. God, it's been a while, hasn't it?
Does it feel weird?
No, it doesn't feel weird. I'd forgotten what it's like just to do like a mega long monologue.
Yeah.